doctor. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, Jude. Thanks for asking me to be here today and to talk about medical advances. I am Dr. Kriel, and I'm a medical doctor by training. I've been in practice over 15 years. So I gather you wanted to talk about advances in medical technology.
Yes. What are the latest technological advancements in surgery?
That's a very good question, Jude, and I think perhaps over the last 2 decades, 20 years or so, there have been multiple international developments and advances in surgery. But I think the one that probably stands out the most is the development of robotic surgery. And in particular, there's a robot that was pioneered by an American company in around the year 2000, and it was further approved by the body that approves medical devices in America, the Food and Drug Administration, and that's called the Da Vinci robot, and that is perhaps one of the most important advances in surgery in the last 20 years, and there have been remarkable improvements internationally as a result of it.
So, what exactly is robotic surgery?
Robotic surgery is the performance of surgery by the robot, but that robot is controlled by a surgeon in an operating cubicle. The surgeon has various instruments and a panel that he or she uses to direct the robot in terms of how and what to do during that surgery. And there are various instruments and equipment that the surgeon controls in order to direct the $2 million robot.
What are the advantages in robotic surgery versus traditional surgery?
Well, that's another very good question, Jude. And there are several advantages, including the fact that the incision or the wound that you have to make on the patient in order to access that particular organ within the abdomen or within the reproductive tract of females. The incision site is a lot smaller compared to traditional forms of surgery, and as a result of that, because the incision, that's where you go into to the patient, because the incision is smaller, it also allows a much faster recovery time compared to traditional surgery. And because that incision or wound is a lot smaller, there's less scarring that happens after. So recovery times are improved, scarring is minimized, and you also reduce to some extent human error. That is errors that could occur during a surgery that is undertaken directly by a human surgeon, because you're not faced with the surgeon becoming tired too easily, you're not faced with tremors of the hand, that shakiness of the hands and things like that. So errors reduced, the recovery times are improved, and the outcomes from that operation are a lot better than traditional forms of surgery. I think though the major drawback of it would be the cost. As we had spoken about before, the average cost of it is about $2 million plus or minus a few $100,000, and it costs probably about $500,000 a year to maintain the robots, and a lot of training is needed for the operator to control that robot.
Do you think that robots and machines might replace other doctors in the future?
Well, I think there's certainly been a lot of development of technology and robots and machines. For example, I could sit here and a patient in Australia, hundreds of miles away, can send me a photograph, and I can look at the skin and give a diagnosis on it and send that back in a matter of minutes. So I think there's been a lot of advances, particularly in terms of remote medicine and machines and what we do with telemedicine and radiology and X-rays, and there's certainly been a lot of technological advancements, and the Da Vinci robot is a very good example of that. But I think doctors will always have a role, particularly with regard to decision making. So, for example, even though you have the Da Vinci robot doing that surgery, you still have a traditional type doctor or surgeon controlling that Da Vinci robot. And if, for example, the Da Vinci robot is doing that operation and encounters something within that, that man or lady's tummy that was not expected, you would still have a doctor trying to help decide what the next course of action would be. So I do think we'll continue to see a lot of advances in robotics and machines, but I also think that you'll still have the role of doctors, or I would certainly hope so.